Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining on time. My name is Rohit. These are the fifth and sixth complimentary sessions out of at least 16 complimentary sessions for German A1 level. What you see right now is the agenda for today's sessions. Now, you see the statement in purple that says you need to learn 27 pronouns and exactly 188 articles in German language. This is what I was told by my teacher in 2018, and I'm not kidding. I really considered asking for a refund if, like, my 20,000 rupees back. And I had already given GRE exam. I don't know if it's still true, but at that time, if you want to go to USA, you had to give this GRE exam, and if you get a good score, you can apply for the universities. And the score was like I got 320 out of 340, and it was a good score. And I really thought if I should go for it and if I should apply for the loan, because in USA you have to pay the restitution fees. Uh, but then over the like after from some sessions, I realized it's not that difficult. It just sounds that German language has 27 pronouns and 188 articles, but it's not that difficult to learn them and remember them. Also, all the guys who are in this call who are engineers or who have some science background, don't forget that you are the guys who memorized periodic table, that Mendeleev's periodic table. You are the guys who memorized differentiation and integration rules, right? Cosine and all these things, right? So it should not be that difficult for you to remember some few more rules from a language. So I'm saying it's not that difficult. So it sounds difficult in the beginning, but let us look at them. Let's look at them and see if it's easier for you. Feel free to raise hand and ask questions if you have any. Let's start. Disclaimer: those who are joining for the first time, if someone really has to teach you a language, and if they have to say, I taught you everything I wanted you to teach, and I made you practice everything I wanted to make you practice for a particular German A1 level or A2 level, that person should at least spend 80 to 100 hours with you. And then that person can say, okay, now I have done my job. I am only spending 16 or 20 hours with you, maximum 20 hours. That's why I cannot promise that I have done my job. And because this is complimentary, I cannot spend more time, more than 16, 20 hours with you. Otherwise, yeah, you know why. So please do a lot of homework. See if you can find some course and Arbeitsbook of the which is recommended by the examination authority, and do all the exercises. Okay, so do a lot of homework. Let's do a very quick revision of what you have learned so far. So you learned how to greet someone in German. You learned how to say goodbye to someone in German. Also, in the last session, you learned how to frame simple sentences in German language. I personally can frame three kinds of sentences in German language, and I only have to know how to frame these three kinds in German language. There can be more, but these three are enough for me. The first kind is a statement. It's just a declarative statement. I read, I eat, I sleep, I work, I code, I execute, I compile. Just simple sentences. Then you have question. You have yes or no kind of question. Do I code? Do I compile? Do I sleep? Do I eat? Am I eating? uh, Stuff like that, yes or no kind of questions. Then the third is w kind of question. That means who, when, what, where. What am I reading? What do I read? What am I listening? What do I listen to? Where do I find this? Where, and so on, right? Where, who, when, what, where, how, and which, something like that. So there are three kinds of sentences which I can frame in German language, and these are the three I need to know. Let's look at how you, again, we are doing a revision, so you should know this. If not, let's do a quick revision. So a statement normally consists of a subject and a verb. So you have a subject and you have a verb. You can have an object, you need not have an object, but if you can add an object. For example, I read is enough. I can also say I read a book, I read the contract, I read the novel, I read the code, stuff like that. So you can have an object. So if you want to say a statement in German, you have a subject, then you have a verb, and you have an object. Example: Ich bekomme den Vertrag. Bekommen means to get, ich is I, Vertrag is a contract. So in Germany you sign contracts, right? So it's a contract. So I get the contract or I receive the contract. The second kind is yes or no kind of question. So if you want to convert a statement to a yes or no kind of question, all you have to do is interchange the positions of the subject and the verb. So in a statement, you have subject, verb, object. In a yes or no kind of question, you have verb, subject, and object. For example, if I want to convert ich bekomme den Vertrag to a yes or no kind of question, all I have to do is interchange the positions of the subject, which is ich, and the verb, that is bekomme. So it will sound like bekomme ich den Vertrag, of course, with a question mark. Then the third variety is W kind of question. Yeah, W kind of question. And if you want to convert a yes or no kind of question to a W kind of question, all you have to do is put the W word at the beginning. So, yes or no kind of question, you have verb, subject, object. If you want to convert this to a W kind of question, all you have to do is take the yes or no kind of question as it is and put the W word at the beginning. Way what, verb, subject, object, of course, with a question mark. Example: Wann bekomme ich den Vertrag? When do I get the contract, or when am I getting the contract? Okay, so statement, subject, verb, object. If you want to convert a statement to a yes or no kind of question, interchange the positions of the subject and the verb, or just place the verb at the first position. If you want to convert a yes or no kind of question to a W kind of question, take the yes or no kind of question as it is and put the W word at the beginning. Yeah. Any questions so far? Any
Uh,
kind of questions?
yeah, Rohit, this is the general understanding. There could be exceptions to these cases, correct? Whatever, or
Exceptions could be, for example, you have a statement over here, right? So I say statement is normally subject, verb, object, but it can be like object, verb, subject. You can say it like that. For example, if my boss asks, right, Rohit, did you finish the code? And I'll say I'm doing it right now, or I'm doing it. So I can say ish maka, like I do or I am doing, or I can just say makish. That's also fine. That's one
okay,
exception. Second exception is, so one exception is that uh, like a statement, like on paper, if I just remove this question mark and put a full stop over here, on paper this is not wrong. Okay, in exam they may say it's wrong, but when you it's fine. Some, for example, quite often when you, for example, if your boss says, "Are you coming?" you can say "ish comma," or you can say "Yeah, komish," something like that. So you can say
hmm, yeah, yeah,
it's fine, but in exam be careful. As long as you're preparing for the exams, follow this structure. In the case of
okay,
W kind of question, there is no exception. Yeah. One exception will be, so whenever you say something, it can be the main clause or it can be the subordinate clause. Main clause
yeah,
meaning, blah 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 blah, and then a conjunction. For example, I am doing this so that blah 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 blah. So whenever you
yeah,
have a conjunction, after the conjunction there is a change in the structure. So but we are
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about only
uh,
main clause right now. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Now I got it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, thanks.
Most welcome. Any other question? Okay, so this is the revision from the last time. Let us focus on the subject and the object. Subject or the object can be a noun or it can be a pronoun. For example, in this sentence, the subject was a pronoun, right? Ish, and the object was a noun. Sorry, yeah, it was a noun. Vertrag is a noun. I can actually, instead of the subject being ish, I can say the company, right? The firma bekommt den Vertrag. The company gets the contract, right? So I'm saying the subject and the object. Normally, you have either a noun or you have a pronoun. So nomen is noun, pronomen is pronoun. Whenever you write a nomen, you can, but you don't have to, you can attach an article to it. So articles like the, in English you have the, a, and an, right? You have articles like that, mine, his, her, articles like this. So for example, over here in this examples that we looked at, there was an article next to Vertrag, right? Then do you need the article? No, you can just say ich bekomme Vertrag. But you don't say, right, I get contract. You say I get the contract, I get a contract. Again, if you want to use an article, I'm saying subject and object are normally either a noun or a pronoun. If it's a noun, you can have an article next to the noun as well. Okay. And this is what we are going to learn today. We are going to learn all the pronouns that are possible in German language, and we are going to learn all the articles that are possible in German language. Okay, so we are going to learn all the pronouns that are possible in German language. We are going to learn all the articles that are possible in German language. Any questions about what do I mean by subject and object is usually either a noun or a pronoun? Okay. Now, as I said, you are going to learn all the possible pronouns, you're going to learn all the possible articles. So, in English, you have pronouns like I, you, she, they, and so on, right? Then you also have something like me, her, them, they, something like that. So, you have this, for example, I becomes me, he becomes his, she, something like that. You know what, if you know what I'm saying, right? Sorry, he becomes him. Similarly, so there are the case of the noun changes. Similarly, in German, the pronomen can be in nominative case, it can be in accusative case, or it can be in dative case. So the same pronoun in German language. So I'll tell you which pronouns are there in German language. Of course, you can guess. There will be one pronoun for I, there will be one pronoun for you, there will be one for he, she, it, and so on, right? So you will learn that, and you will learn all of them in nominative case. Then you will also learn how do they change, or how they look like and how they sound like in accusative case, and how do they sound and look like in dative case, right? It's about pronouns. So there are 9 pronouns, and 9 times 3 is 27. Then there are articles, you know so articles in English, you have the, right? This is definite article. Then you have a and an. This is indefinite article. Then you also have no. Now you say no is an article. If you think about it, you can say he is the programmer. He is a programmer. He is no programmer. So no is kind of an article. You don't. I know you don't think like, but it's kind of an article, right? So you will have definite articles meaning bestimmte article. You will have unbestimmte article meaning indefinite article. Then you will have negationsartikel. You will have something similar to the no in English language. Then you will have possessive article. What is possessive article? You can say he is a programmer, he is the programmer, he is a no programmer, or you can say he is our programmer, my programmer, their programmer, his programmer, her programmer, and so on, right? This is like possessive article. Now in English you only have the, right? But in German, the same the can be said in 16 different ways, actually much more. But I'm just saying, okay, yeah, at least 16 different ways. Why 16? Because let's say the English the, okay, I'm taking English the. If I want to write, say, what is English the in German, there are 16 different options. Why 16 different options? Because the noun in German language can be categorized as masculine, feminine, neutrum, or plural. Plural is obvious. For example, every masculine noun, if I, for example, man, like man is masculine. If I say Männer, it becomes plural, right? So, right? Frau is singular, feminine. Frauen is plural. Neutrum, for example, Kind is neutrum, child, and it can become Kinder, meaning plural. So, every noun can be categorized as masculine. The nouns can be categorized into masculine, feminine, neutrum, and plural categories. Also, the same noun, as I told you, right? The pronoun, you can have it in nominative case, you can have it in accusative case, you can have it in dative case. Meaning, if I want to say the in German language, I have to first ask whether it is masculine. So then the article, is it associated with a noun? So of course the article is associated with a noun. Then I have to ask which article it is. If it is bestimmte article, then I will have a table for bestimmte article. And then I have to ask the noun with which the article is associated. Is this noun masculine, feminine, neutrum, or plural? Then I have to ask in which case the noun finds itself. Is it nominative case, accusative case, dative case, or genitive case? Now you may ask, okay, pronouns we have 3 cases: nominative, accusative, dative. But for nouns we have one more, genitive. Why so? Accept it, that's why it is. I mean, I can give you some smart reason why that is, but when you learn about genitive case, you will realize that it is difficult to have a pronoun in genitive case. Maybe it is possible, maybe I don't know, but I don't think you need to learn the pronoun in genitive case. I'm not even sure if pronouns exist in genitive case again. So a single article, the in from English, can there are 16 different options for the same in German language, because you have to first ask whether the noun is masculine, feminine, neutrum, or plural. Then you have to ask in which case the noun finds itself, whether it is nominative case, accusative case, dative, or genitive case. Now the next question you should ask me is, if you don't have this question right now in your head, what, so you understand masculine, feminine, neutrum, plural, right? If any questions, please ask. What are these cases? Nominative, accusative, dative, and genitive cases. I will not give you the answer right now. We will learn about it in the next session, like on Thursday. But I'll give you a very short answer. What is nominative? What is I mean, what does it mean? So in German language, any sentence that you say in German, it will have a verb. Now the verb, so normally you have a subject and you have a verb, right? So the subject is almost always in nominative case. So nominative is something, it is the guy who is doing the action. So if the noun is the one who is doing the action, for example, I read, I am in nominative case. He reads, he is in nominative case. Then what is accusative? The one on whom the action is being done. For example, ich lese den Vertrag. Vertrag, I'm doing the action on Vertrag is getting directly influenced by my action because I'm reading. So Vertrag will be in accusative case. Then what is dative case? Dative case also applies to object, but it is the indirect object. For example, I am reading the Vertrag and I am reading it for you. Let's say we are going to sign a contract, and I'm your lawyer, and you say, Rohit, can you read the contract to me and make me understand what are the clauses? And I will say, alles gut. Ich lese dir den Vertrag. So dia is you in dative case. So nominative case normally almost always applies only to the subject. It's the guy who is doing the action. Accusative, dative. So accusative is normally applies to the object, direct object, the object which is getting directly influenced. And then dative is the indirect object. What is genative? Genative is, how to say, for example, it's something of something. For example, I am reading the contract of my company. So of company, the company will be in genative case. Again, if I'm confusing you, you can zone out for a few minutes, but I have to say it. So genative is whenever you have of something, some relationship. For example, brother of my color of my laptop. So whenever you have this noun after of in a relationship, the noun after of will find itself in genative case. You can ignore genative for now because you anyhow don't learn genative in A1, but it's that's a short crash course in what this is. I can tell you one more thing. If you also, if you are not sure, so nominative, I told you, normally whenever this, it's normally applies to the subject of a sentence. An object, so it can be accusative or dative. Now if you really have to guess, if I give you, if there is a sentence and if you have to guess whether the object is accusative or dative, go with accusative. You will be right by default most of the times. Yeah, dative is not that common, but yeah, we'll talk about it when we go there. Any questions so far? Okay, so before we talk about, so I will tell you, I'll give you all the pronouns. I will tell you all the articles, bestimmte, unbestimmte, Negations, and possessive article. But let's talk about this masculine, feminine, and neutrum first of all. So, uh, every noun in German language can be categorized as either the masculine, feminine, neutrum, or a plural. Plural meaning the same, masculine, feminine nouns, just plural case. So there is